Reborn into the elf world and became the son of rocket team leader Sakaki, awakened from a small system. At the beginning, he was guarded by the Sky Dragon of Osiris, one of the three fantasy gods, and almost kidnapped by the Phoenix King.Renqian, a shining star in the Guandu region, won the Quartz competition trophy in his first year of debut. Afterwards, the rocket team became a bully and led the team to forcefully annex evil organizations in other regions, becoming the king of the underground world. At the World Championships, Guxin faced Dandi, and the winged dragon soared like the sun.Dandi. What kind of elf are you? Guxin looked up and said, this is not an elf, it's Camida. God Omicrona, the clone of Arthas, awakens and prepares to blood wash Midina. I will liberate the Sky Dragon, giant divine weapon, and winged divine dragon, come out. The god of light, Herakti. You are a naturally evil Alpaca. For the future of the world, I will subdue you. Alpaca. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Champion of the Quartz Conference, Guxin. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Yuanzhou City. This is an ancient city famous far and wide in the urban area, not only because it has the Yuanzhou Daoguan, but also because Yuanzhou City is a city with a history passed down. That's right, Yuanzhou City is known as a historic and cultural city, and traditional harmonious architecture is a characteristic of the city. Here, you can see houses and buildings with historical traces everywhere. And there are rumors that Yuanzhou City is also the center of the legendary Pokémon in the city capital. Why? Because there was a legend in the Guandu area that Pokémon Phoenix King and Lokia both lived in Yuanzhou City. Unfortunately, for some reason, both the Phoenix King and Lokia left one after another, and the bell tower, which was originally inhabited by Lokia, was struck and burned down by lightning from the sky, leaving only the current, burnt tower. Although the bell tower of the Phoenix King is still intact, and those who believe in the Phoenix King are still praying for repentance, the Phoenix King has never descended again until now. Round Zhu Dance Theater. This is the most famous ballroom in Yuanzhou City today. The ballroom is opened by the 5 famous sisters of Yuanzhou City. It is one of the landmark buildings in Yuanzhou City. Because the courtesans in the Yuanzhou dance hall are not only beautiful like flowers, but also have excellent dance skills, elegant and classical temperament, and the men who enter the dance hall are captivated and reluctant to leave. Of course, this is a formal venue for dance, and the dance prostitutes on the venue also sell their skills but not their bodies. The Elf Alliance prohibits non-formal venues from operating. It is not an easy task to win the heart of a courtesan at the Yuanzhou dance hall. At this moment, in an elegant room on the second floor of the Yuanzhou dance hall, faint and serene music is playing, and a black-haired boy is lying on a bamboo chair enjoying himself. A delicate girl wearing a black kimono knelt on the left side of the boy, her fair and slender hands carefully peeling off a grape skin and then feeding it into the boy's mouth. Immediately after, the black kimono girl Qianqian's jade hand slowly landed on the boy's leg, gently pressing it for him. Yushu, your craftsmanship is really getting better and better. After a long time, the black-haired boy sat up and embraced the kimono girl Yushu, gently pinching her fair chin and laughing. It would be an honor for Yushu to satisfy you, Mr. Guxin. Yushu's pretty face turned slightly red, and she lowered her head and whispered in a pleasant voice. Because at this moment, the collar of her kimono was opened and one hand reached in. With Guxin's gentle force, Yushu's ears trembled for a moment, feeling that something was wrong with his body. I feel a bit bigger, let me have a good check tonight. Guxin leaned into Yushu's ear and whispered in a warm voice, making his face even redder and making him shy and unable to speak. Yushu is really cute. Seeing the girl lower her head and start looking like an ostrich, Guxin's smile couldn't help but deepen. Compared with her sisters with different personalities, Yushu, who is obviously more cool and elegant in her black kimono temperament, is the most shy in this matter. The 5 sisters of Yuanzhu have their own strengths. No one can tell which of the 5 sisters is more attractive, but Guxin really likes Yushu best. I haven't congratulated Mr. Guxin on winning the championship at the Quartz convention yet. You won the championship in your first year of travel. You're really amazing. Yushu held down his large hand, which was acting as a demon inside his clothes, and congratulated Guxin in a soft voice, as if his beautiful eyes with a pool of autumn water reflected Guxin's face. This is nothing. Guxin chuckled lightly without any fluctuation in tone. Winning the championship of the Quartz conference in the first year of travel is indeed impressive in the eyes of a normal person, but in the eyes of Guxin, it is not a remarkable achievement. Many people believe that if Mr. Guxin is willing to challenge the 4 heavenly kings, you can definitely occupy a position. Yushu pursed her lips and continued to speak softly. She also went to watch the final of Guxin's Quartz conference, but it wasn't really good because Guxin only used a Pokémon to push his opponent horizontally to win the championship. But precisely so, all the audience understands that Guxin's strength is not in the same dimension as other contestants. But to everyone's surprise, Guxin did not challenge the 4 heavenly kings of Guandu. As the winner of the Quartz conference, Guxin has the qualification to challenge the 4 heavenly kings of Guandu. That's for sure. Guxin's mouth slightly raised, his handsome face appearing somewhat rebellious, and he was not humble. The 4 heavenly kings of Guandu, Kona, Shiba, and Juzi, all have confidence to overcome. But I'm not sure if I can definitely defeat the champion, Yushu. You should understand my thoughts. Guxin lay down holding Yushu, with the other hand protecting him, and looked up at his exquisitely crafted face. If we use it, we can indeed defeat Yolongdu, but it's not the time yet. Yushu understands. Yushu naturally understood that this young man was not without ambition, he was just proud and wanted to do his best. Guxin cannot do things that are uncertain, but Yushu believes that one day this young man will reign in Guandu. Drip by drop, just as Guxin was about to go further, his phone suddenly rang. It seems I can't accompany you today, Yushu. Guxin sat up and glanced at the caller, but couldn't help but click. If you have anything to do, please go ahead and get busy. It's okay with Yushu, Yushu said softly. You're so gentle, Yushu. If there's a chance, I'll take you out to play. Guxin stroked Yushu's cheek. Then Yushu looked forward to it. Yushu's delicate face was filled with a smile. Understood that Guxin was about to get down to business, he stood up and made a lady's salute to Guxin before leaving slowly. Father, do you have to find me at this time? Guxin answered the phone and said helplessly to the person on the other end. The first thing after winning the championship is not to go home and congratulate my father, but to go to the Yuanzhu dance hall to find a woman first. Stinky kid, you really can do it. On the other end of the phone, the usually calm and magnetic voice was now laughing angrily. Yes, that guy from Jinniao told you, right? Guxin surrendered. Hurry up and come back to me. Oh. Chapter 2. Sakaki smoking in the toilet. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Changpan City, also known as Chongqing City, is named because it is a city where flowers bloom all year round. It is also a very distinctive city, and the Joban Road Museum in Joban City is also well known in the Kanto region. Because the owner of the Daoguan is Sakaki, known as the Sakaki of the Earth, and is highly respected by the citizens of Joban. Not only is he broad-minded, but his strength is also extremely strong. Online, it has always been believed that Sakaki is the strongest Taoist trainer in the Kanto region. Although Sakaki did not acknowledge this, he did not deny it either. But what outsiders may not know is that in fact, this respected and beloved Taoist master is the boss of the evil organization Rocket Team in the Guandu area. But at this moment, Guxin was standing in front of this Changpan Dao Hall. Young master. Guxin walked into the dojo and was greeted by a bespectacled woman wearing an OL outfit, who looked expressionlessly at Guxin's luggage. True bird, although I didn't come back immediately, it's a bit excessive for you to report to your father. Guxin walked up to Jinniao and hugged his slender waist, walking towards Sakaki's office. He glanced at the bespectacled woman and said slowly. I don't understand what the young master is saying, said Jinniao calmly. The boss asked his subordinates about the young master's whereabouts, and they only reported truthfully. The real bird spoke calmly and did not stop Guxin's dishonest hand. As Sakaki's secretary, Jinniao's ability is beyond doubt, although her trainer level is just average. But the agile and intelligent true bird, who can help Sakaki with many affairs on a regular basis, is his capable assistant. Otherwise, how could Jinniao, who is still so young now, become Sakaki's secretary? Tisk, that's why I like you, Jinniao. Upon hearing the expressionless and clear words on Jinniao's face, Guxin grinned and leaned towards Jinniao's ear. So, Jinniao, to celebrate my young master's victory in the Quartz competition, would you like to schedule a meeting with me tonight? Please take it seriously, young master. The real bird's eyelids twitched. Is it really amazing to schedule a meeting? The real bird, who is very clear about Guxin's character, doesn't think she is a vegetarian. She still has to work tomorrow. Tisk, Jinniao, you weren't like this last time in the restroom. Guxin's hand exerted a slight force, hugging the real bird tighter, and their bodies almost pressed together. The real bird's breathing is slightly faster. Last time you shouted, young master, I still. Young master. Jinniao's fair face instantly turned a lot red, and she quickly covered Guxin's mouth, carefully looking towards the office in front. The ordinary staff in Changpan Daoguan have long been dismissed by Jinniao, so don't worry, but there is still a boss sitting in the office. Ha ha ha, alright, I won't tease you anymore. Remember to come to my room tonight. Seeing Jinniao feeling a bit anxious, Guxin pinched Jinniao's face and walked towards the office laughing. Jinniao took a deep breath to calm his emotions, tidied up his shirt, and followed Guxin on high heels. Dad. Guxin pushed open the door directly and drove lightly to the nearby sofa. He rested his legs on the coffee table and lazily called out to the middle-aged man sitting at his desk. The middle-aged man had a neat size, dressed in a precious black suit, with a thin and gloomy face, and was exactly Sakaki. However, at this moment, Sakaki looked at his proud son and rubbed his temples with a headache as soon as he came in. Guxin is his most proud son. Sakaki has never questioned this point. He has been mature and sensible from childhood to adulthood, never letting him worry, and is very conscious. He has always been following him and striving to cultivate. With exceptional talent and innate strength, even Sakaki was amazed and proud of Guxin's growth rate. He believes that Guxin will definitely surpass himself in the future. But as he grew older, some of Guxin's directions seemed to be crooked. For example, when Guxin was 15 years old, Sakaki asked him to temporarily replace the owner of the Joban Dokan and go out to handle organizational affairs on his own. But when he returned that night, he heard some kind of sound from his son and secretary Jinniao outside his office door. At that moment, no one knew what Sakaki's heart was like, he only knew that there seemed to be 10,000 grass mud horses rushing through his heart. My son is only 15 years old. Real bird, you're wasting my trust in you. And this is my office. How dare you do that kind of thing with my son inside? Guxin is not yet of age. How could you handle it? With an extremely complex mood, Sakaki did not disturb his son and secretary's work. He walked to the restroom and couldn't help but light a cigarette, which he didn't usually smoke. After reaching the age of 16, Guxin set off on a journey in the name of what he needed to experience. And one day, Guxin asked you to come. Sakaki held his iconic mature smile and looked at the pure-looking black-haired girl in front of him. But for some reason, the girl always felt a bit shy and restrained in the face. Yes. Guxin is currently traveling, do you need me to help you contact him? No need, I have contact information for Brother Guxin. Did Guxin tell you why he asked you to come to Changpan Taoist Hall to find me? Sakaki still maintained his goodwill, after all, this girl was introduced by his son. Brother Guxin said, let me temporarily stay by your uncle's side to learn about battles, because I won't be able to travel for another 2 months. The black-haired girl awkwardly stroked her hair around her ear. I see, since it was Guxin who said it, then you can stay behind me for now. Sakaki frowned slightly, not visible, and looked at the young girl in a vague way. He couldn't see anything special about this girl, it was just her pure and clean appearance. But there must be something special about the girl that the kid can take notice of and bring back. Sakaki is still very confident about this. Also. The girl lowered her head and blushed. Sakaki lifted his teacup and took a sip, waiting for the girl's words. If I were to conceive a baby, Brother Guxin would have me give birth here at the Joban Dojo. Puff. The boss of the rocket team and the dark source of the Guandu region's dark world, named Sakaki, sprayed tea directly from his mouth. Sakaki looked at the young girl in front of him in shock. Ah. Chapter 3. Revitalizing the Rocket Team. Glory is my duty. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Sorry about the past. Sakaki sighed so deeply, looking at the carefree little son hanging on the sofa, he couldn't help but miss the obedient little Guxin from his childhood. Guxin, you should be more restrained. You're only 16 years old now. Father, I will be 17 years old soon. Guxin rolled his eyes. And don't worry, I will definitely spread branches and leaves for our family. No, you completely misunderstood. Sakaki opened his mouth and hesitated to say anything. After all, this stinky kid still had a plan in his mind. Sakaki rubbed his eyebrows again, unable to do anything. Who would have thought this was his precious son? Since the incident 10 years ago, Sakaki has been almost always accommodating in spoiling Guxin. By the way, father, did you call me back this time? Guxin looked at Sakaki, he didn't believe that Sakaki was praising him for winning the Quartz conference. Sakaki knows Guxin's strength the best, but this stinky kid can already face him head-on. Isn't it just a matter of sprinkling water to win the Quartz conference championship? I think your previous proposal is very feasible. Now our power is approaching saturation in Guandu. Under the leadership of Chakra, the city capital is also steadily developing, and it is only a matter of time before we can take control of it, so we do need to expand outward. Sakaki stood up and walked over to Guxin to sit down, his fingers rhythmically tapping his thighs, his eyes flickering with malice that made his scalp tingle. Tisk father, you finally understand. I've already said that we and the Guandu alliance are stubborn and have no way out on this 1 acre or 3 fun land. Guxin grinned at the words, appearing wild and savage, with dense white teeth that made one's heart palpitate. Fan Yuan's lava team and water fleet, 2 unremarkable organizations led by 2 unremarkable entities, Shineo's galaxy team, and Akira's guy are just a crazy idiot who wants to destroy the world. The plasma team of Hejong is quite difficult to deal with, but as long as you come with me, father, we can both directly kill them all. Carlo's Spark team shares the same virtues as the Galaxy team, while Aurora's Skull team is a gangster organization. Guxin spoke confidently, with an undisguised contempt and mockery towards organizations in other regions. Young master, even if you say so, it's not that simple to take down the local snakes. The real bird spoke calmly. Perhaps in Guxin's view, those evil organizations are not worth mentioning, but ultimately they are all local leaders in their respective regions. Even if the rockets are a strong dragon in the Guandu area, it is not an easy task to develop by crossing mountains and seas into other areas. Difficult. True bird, it seems you still don't understand. Guxin grinned higher. Jinyao is not a trainer after all, she cannot understand how strong a top trainer can be in terms of destructive power and strength. Take the lava team and water fleet as examples. As long as we find their lair, Guxin alone can destroy them all. Even without panting. What Jinyao said still makes some sense, Guxin. Since you proposed this plan, I'll leave it to you to execute. What do you think? Sakaki pondered for a moment and discussed with Guxin. If Guxin is unwilling, he will not force it, but there is no doubt that if the rockets develop outward, they will definitely need a strong guarantee. Otherwise, as soon as I arrived at their territory, I was kicked out by them. What's the deal? Of course not a problem, father, just leave it to me. Guxin couldn't help but beg. As the young master of the rockets, it is his duty to revive the glory of the rockets. Then it's up to you. You can set your own goals. Okay, but father, at least you need to arrange some people for me, right? Guxin spread his hand and told Sakaki that there were no lonely families in the fight against Jiangshan. He went to other areas to grab territory, so it's embarrassing not to have some capable guys under his command. At least the cheerleading team needs it, right? Ordinary subordinates are fine, but among senior cadres, the 3 cadres cannot leave. The 3 beast warriors are currently exploring the city capital, and the 4 generals. Upon hearing this, Sakaki pondered for a moment and realized that there seemed to be very few people left to arrange for Guxin. Why don't you go recruit yourself? Father, you're joking with me. Guxinpi looked at Sakaki with a smile on his face, but without a smile on his face. He specifically asked him to recruit a senior cadre himself now. Apollo gave it to me, just one of them is enough. Guxin directly asked for someone, and he also knew that it was impossible for the 3 officials to leave, while the words of the 3 beast warriors were currently attacking the city. There are only 4 generals left, and without a doubt, Apollo, the leader of the 4 generals, has the most excellent abilities. Although his strength is only at the level of a king, Apollo's talent and brain are beyond doubt. Apollo can't do it. He's in charge of the underground base in Golden City. You know, that base is very important. Guxin chuckled and said, if we don't come, there must be someone to manage the rocket team in the Guandu area to maintain its operation. Normally, Sakaki needs to be the head of the dojo, and Apollo is the one who secretly maintains the order of the rockets. Then give me Lance, that's all. Lance. Okay. Sakaki hesitated for a moment. After all, he was going out to expand his territory, and Guxin did need someone who could use him around him. That's no problem, let's arrange for 2 more capable assistants as my assistants. Father, let me lay a big foundation for you with my son. Guxin nodded in satisfaction, then lifted his head and confidently dried the clouds. Don't go too far, if you make the alliance urgent, it won't end well. Sakaki was not moved, instead, he rubbed his brows and gave a painful advice. He knows that this stinky guy has a bold and reckless personality, and is proud and conceited. Sakaki is really afraid that this guy will cause trouble in other areas. Unfortunately, Guxin does have this ability. Sakaki knew very well that if Guxin really used that elf with all his might, he could easily defeat himself. How could it be, father? You just don't trust me anymore. Sakaki smiled but remained silent. By the way, there's one more thing I'm calling you this time. Your dream has come to life. Oh. Guxin was taken aback for a moment, and then his eyes lit up slightly. Xiaomeng finally woke up. Chapter 4. Awakening Superdreams, You Are Dangerous. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. What is the most outstanding work of the rockets? So as long as you have learned about the first generation story of Pokémon, no one will doubt it, and that is definitely Superman. By recombining dreamy genetic genes and incorporating various excellent Pokémon genes, coupled with the rocket's top-notch biological cloning technology. The artificial god. Superdream has been born. What is God? That is a title that only the top creatures in this world deserve, such as the Phoenix King.Renqian in Guandu. They are revered and worshipped as gods in the human world. They possess a long lifespan far beyond that of humans and the ultimate power beyond ordinary Pokémon. From the moment they were born, Phoenix King.Renqian were destined to stand at the pinnacle of the world. Because their life race level far exceeds that of ordinary creatures, they are creatures blessed by the world. The birth of Superman is a miracle of the world, representing the limits of science. With the hands of humanity, it has created life that can be compared to God. On an island in a sea area of Guandu. The helicopter landed, and Guxin lifted his feet and landed on this piece of land. He tidied up his white leisure jacket and walked towards the only building on the island. This island is called New Island and is a secret research base for the rocket team. And there is only one project for this base, which is Chow Meng. Chow Meng finally woke up, and Guxin naturally wouldn't delay. He rushed over immediately. But boom boom. A violent explosion echoed from afar, and a towering flame lit up in the distance. Seeing this, Guxin raised an eyebrow, which is the direction of the research institute. At this moment, the research institute is more like a ruin, and in front of this ruin, a silver-white Pokémon with a faint blue light slowly falls from the sky. What am I, exactly? Chow Meng raised his hand and looked at his palm with purple eyes full of confusion. My meaning. And what is it? Thinking of those humans who were extremely passionate and excited because they woke up, the confusion in Chow Meng's eyes deepened. Strongest. Research. Clones. The significance of birth. This is its first awakening in this world, and it doesn't understand or comprehend what humans are saying. Its name is Chow Meng, according to those so-called researchers, it means beyond dreams. Dreamy. My own pathogen. So is its birth to transcend dreams. But why? The incomprehensible dream began to ache like a tear in the head, and the terrifying superpowers within the body erupted uncontrollably. This massive research institute was also annihilated in the face of this force. On the first day of waking up, there was such a commotion. Just as Chow Meng was wandering, the clear voice of a young man suddenly came over. Upon hearing the sound, Chow Meng immediately turned her head and a deep blue light shone in her purple eyes. What caught the eye was a young man wearing a casual jacket, with a black casual shirt underneath and black slim-fitting pants below. A very clean and agile human youth. Who are you? Chow Meng stared at this human teenager with blue eyes, his fragile body. With just one thought, his wild superpowers could tear it apart. But for some reason, this young man had a strange and comfortable aura on him, and there is also a strong and extreme sense of threat. Guxin, you can call me Guxin. Guxin walked slowly to Chow Meng's side and looked at the research institute that had already been completed and turned into waste. He had no emotion at all about this. The research institute had already completed its mission, and since Superdream had awakened, it had no need to continue to exist. Human beings are truly fragile creatures. Being killed by the life they create is their ultimate fate, right? It's a pity that those researchers inside died, after all, they are all talented researchers. However, Guxin will remember them for a second, as they have also made some contributions to the birth of Superdream. Upon hearing the sound, the deep blue light in Chow Meng's eyes flickered slightly. Life. It seems that you, who have just awakened, have many areas of confusion, so come with me. Guxin turned his head to face Chow Meng and slowly grinned as he looked into Chow Meng's eyes. I will take you to find the answer, tell you what I know, and let you understand your current doubts one by one. It has to be said that the Superman at this moment is somewhat moved, and the human in front of me seems to understand me very well. The confusion in the heart of the newly awakened dream is too deep. You are very dangerous. The blue light in Chow Meng's eyes slowly disappeared, revealing his original purple eyes. He looked straight at the human youth in front of him and directly expressed his senses in his heart. Is it dangerous? Well, I've always thought of myself as the purest person. Guxin's smile was even greater at the corner of his mouth. What do you have on you? The blue light in Qiaomeng's eyes slowly lit up again, flickering bright and dark. Do you want to know? Since you want me to follow you, shouldn't you let me know you first? The deep telepathy of Qiaomeng answered directly, and without understanding the source of that sense of threat, it could not be at ease. Ha ha ha, although it's just awakened and not as complex as humans, your mind is surprisingly flexible in this aspect. Guxin couldn't help but laugh at the sound, and the laughter grew increasingly wild, echoing on the ruins. In that case, I'll satisfy you, Qiaomeng. Saw Sky Dragon. Roar. Chapter 5. Fantasy God Sky Dragon. It's Cami. You are listening at novel full.audio. Roar. The deep and heavy sound of dragon chants echoed through the sky and earth. The originally clear and blue sky began to form continuous black thunderstorms, with white arcs appearing and disappearing in the thunderstorms. The wind is silent for an unknown time, and an unparalleled heavy pressure begins to spread in the air. The blue light in Qiaomeng's eyes began to flicker wildly, and his heart frantically raised warning signs. Even if he had just awakened, his sensory and sensing abilities were already extremely outstanding. It can feel that a terrifying presence is coming. A white pillar of light, starting from Guxin, illuminated the heavens and the earth, sinking into the thunderclouds. The world was silent, and the slender red dragon body was half hidden within the thundercloud, constantly moving as if endless. A ferocious red dragon head peeked down from the thundercloud, overlooking the world. A pair of huge red wings spread out behind it, but due to the black thundercloud, only one corner of the wings could be seen. It showed even more divinity and mystery. This is. Qiaomeng lifted his head and looked up at the majestic red dragon in the sky. The crazy flashing blue light in his eyes represented his restless emotions at this moment. How could it be calm now? The indescribable heavy pressure, even at this moment it feels heavy on its body. This is the oppressive feeling brought by the divine power of this Pokémon from the inside out. Its name is Osiris Sky Dragon. How about it? Guxin looked at Osiris's Sky Dragon in the sky with satisfaction. This is his hanging. As a reincarnated Guxin, he awakened his system when he was young and drew one of the three fantasy gods, the Osiris Sky Dragon. Speaking of which, it was indeed a coincidence at the time. The next day after drawing Osiris's Sky Dragon, a big turkey targeted him and almost kidnapped him. Fortunately, there is Sky Dragon guarding. Electric down a lot of the feathers of that big turkey bird and run away in embarrassment. Otherwise, Guxin might be kidnapped by this big turkey. By the way, Guxin also collected all the feathers that had been knocked down by the Sky Dragon from this big turkey. After all, it was its bird feathers. It still has great collection value and strategic significance. It was through the feather of this big turkey that Guxin got involved with the 5 sisters of Yuanzhu and became a VIP in the dance hall. In fact, the identity of the 5 sisters is not simple. Guxin will never admit that he is greedy for the beauty of these 5 sisters. After all, the 5 sisters are eye-catching. 5 times the enjoyment. Which cadre can withstand such a test? Very strong. Qiaomeng stared tightly at the Sky Dragon in the sky, hesitated for a moment, and then replied like this. Yes, very strong. Even if it's a super dream, its warning signs crazily remind it not to be enemies. That's for sure. This is Camille. Guxin grinned at the corner of his mouth, his expression proud. Although due to system reasons, Osiris's Sky Dragon has been localized by the system, also known as Elvism. The strength of Osiris is very strong, definitely equivalent to the top legend of this world. Moreover, due to being localized by the system, Osiris's Sky Dragon can also learn Pokémon's ultimate moves. Under the system's identification, the data of Sky Dragon is as follows. Osiris's Sky Dragon, with dragon and electric attributes, is a magical Pokémon feature. Shenwei top moves. Superconductive Barrage Light Cannon, Thunder Summoning Bullet, Dragon Star Cluster, Dragon Wave, Dragon Dance, Thunder Strike, Crazy Volt, Lightning Strike. During the chaos of the thunder, the ancient magic guidebook was bound in a chain, which could be described as infinite power, classified as fantasy god Pokémon, characterized by exclusive divine power, with 2 exclusive skills, and an introduction and description of this explosive form. This is what the local Pokémon of Sky Dragon look like. Unfortunately, currently Guxin only has the Sky Dragon of Osiris, and it is unknown when the giant divine weapon and winged divine dragon will be obtained. Is it a god? Upon hearing this, Xiaomeng took a deep look at Osiris's Sky Dragon, its seemingly endless body amidst the black clouds and its vast divine power. I'm willing to go with you. Xiaomeng made a decision and seriously addressed Gu Xindao. Just awakened, it has too much confusion in its heart. Originally, it didn't know where to go, because according to those researchers, it was just a dream clones, not even real life, right? Where should it go in this world? But now it has a choice. And in Xiaomeng's eyes, the blue light disappeared, and her purple eyes gazed at the palm of the human hand in front of her. This is a wise decision, believe me, Xiaomeng. You will never regret this decision today in the future. Guxin raised his lips high and spoke to Xiaomeng with great satisfaction. I will take you to see the truth of this world. Newcomer's new book, please order flowers, tickets, and collect QAQ. Chapter 6. Arola region, first, take this side for surgery. You are listening at novel full.audio. The Arola region is an extremely famous tourist resort in the elf world, especially with its sunny beaches and vast sea, making it the world's largest. This place is full of southern flavors, with tropical elements such as coconut trees, pineapple juice, hibiscus shirts, and beach sports everywhere. Although for some reasons, the Arola region has not formed an alliance, this does not prevent the Arola region from becoming famous worldwide. It's really nice sunshine, what do you think? Domino. Mile Island, Guxin walked out of the airport, took off her sunglasses, and raised her lips to look at the vast golden beach in the distance. Yes, young master. Domino, dressed in a black slim-fit skirt that outlined her slender figure, nodded respectfully upon hearing the words. A head of golden curly hair, slender and straight legs wearing black silk, with a delicate fair face. Domino, a senior agent of the Rockets, known as the Black Tulip, is an excellent intelligence officer. Young master, all personnel have arrived at the Arola area. What are our next actions? The green handsome young man on the left side of Guxin asked in a low voice. And he is Lance, one of the 4 senior cadres of the rocket team, and also the second in command sent by Sakaki to assist Guxin in Arola. Well, only Lance and Domino can be used, but Guxin is already quite satisfied. Because the 3 beasts are now expanding their territory for the rockets in the city capital. And the 3 cadres all have their own visible identities, so it is not easy to dispatch them to other regions. The 4 generals were responsible for overseeing all the rocket teams in the Kanto region, and being able to dispatch Lance to Arola to assist Guxin was already Sakaki's concern for Guxin. Not to mention also transferring Domino over. Although I really want to enjoy the atmosphere of Arola, my father has entrusted me with the important task of taking over the Arola region, so I still need to get down to business first. Guxin looked at the distant beach with great interest. Tisk truly worthy of being a world.famous vacation destination. There are so many beautiful women. Lance looked at his nose, and heart, silently speaking with an elegant smile, and Domino beside him was no exception. After all, this mission is fully led by Guxin, not to mention that Guxin is still the son of the boss. But let's find a place to eat first. After taking such a long flight, we also need to take a break. Guxin looked towards the other side of the city and walked towards it with Domino and Lance. They are all wearing plain clothes, so naturally they are not afraid of their identities being exposed. As for other Rocket Team subordinates, they entered the Alola area in batches and waited for their summons. According to my investigation, the evil organization currently known to the public in the Alola region is called the Skull Team, which is also the most notorious organization in the Alola region. There was no hotel private room, and Guxin and the three of them were having lunch. Domino reported the information he had received. The leader of the Skull Team is Guzma, who has a notorious reputation in the Alola region. Skull Team members will plunder other people's property and Pokémon will cause trouble in various places, which is highly despised by the local people of Alola. Domino recalled the information he had investigated and spoke to Guxin. Have you obtained the location of the Skull Team's stronghold? Lance listened very seriously, but according to Domino, the Skull Team is really an evil organization. It's not accurate, but it's said to be in the town of Pa on the island of Ula Ula. It's a deserted town that seems to have been occupied by the Skull Squad. Domino hesitated for a moment and replied, she actually didn't want to say this information because she wasn't sure. For her profession, she naturally does not want to report this uncertain intelligence to her superiors. However, young master, I have collected some interesting information. Domino looked at Guxin, who was slowly sucking on coconut juice. Oh. You said, Guxin nodded. Guzma has had contact with the president of the Ether Foundation, Domino said seriously. The Alola region is composed of 4 islands, and Ethereum is an artificial island in the Alola region, also known as the 5th island of Alola. Ethereum belongs to the Ethereum Foundation, which is also the most famous institutional organization in the Alola region, but the Ethereum Foundation is a good name. In the eyes of the Arolans, the Ether Foundation is an extremely benevolent foundation organization, because its creed is to rescue and assist those injured and abandoned Pokémon. But Domino received some very interesting news. Is it accurate? Guxin raised an eyebrow, familiar with the plot. Of course, he knew about Guzma's relationship with the Ether Foundation. But Guxin never expected that Domino would also notice that this woman was truly one of the top senior agents of the Rockets. Yes, my friend in the intelligence circle sent me a photo. Domino took out a photo from his pocket and handed it to Guxin. Guxin took it and glanced at it, but the curve of his mouth became even higher. Things have become simpler. Well done, Domino. If the action goes smoothly, you'll take great credit. Guxin finished his last sip of coconut juice and praised Domino. Let's go and see the Skull Team. Guxin's mouth curved with a hint of malice, and he was not interested in playing games with the skeletons. Just go and take the skeleton team's lair directly. Seeking flower tickets. Chapter 7. Guandu Rocket Team visits. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Ula Ula Island, located in the eastern part of the Alola region, is also the largest island in the Alola region. At this moment, Guxin arrived at this island by boat, followed by Lance and Domino, as well as several members of the Rockets. Town, this is a small town surrounded by high walls. As its name suggests, the town is indeed quite dilapidated. What a rundown town. Guxin and others entered Seoul Town through an unguarded gate, and Domino frowned. After glancing at them, they felt somewhat disgusted. Every building in Town is a villa, but obviously the town has been abandoned, with scattered streets, crooked streetlights, broken glass, scrapped cars on the road, and absurd graffiti everywhere on the ground and walls. Dirty, messy, and poor, this is everyone's first impression of Pazin. Is Alola's black tissue like this? Lance couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. This is obviously a masterpiece of the Skull Team, but isn't this the base of the Skull Team? The base area is actually like this, thanks to his curiosity about the Skull Team. Saying it's an evil organization, but it's just some hooligans and thugs. Don't have too many expectations. Guxin was not surprised at all. After all, in his impression, the Skull team was just some street thugs and couldn't make it to the stage. It's really different from the disciplined and organized serious and evil organizations like the Rockets. Stop. Who are you guys? And at that moment, 3 masked men and women wearing black skull-patterned vests ran over. Damn it. You took advantage of our convenience to infiltrate our base. The members of the tall and thin skeleton team led by them are obviously not very happy. If the elder sister finds out that they have allowed unrelated people into the Soul Town, they will inevitably be scolded. We didn't sneak in, the door was open, and we walked in openly, Guxin joked with a slight smile on his lips. This is our Skull team's territory. Don't you know? The members of the tall and slender Skull team didn't care how Guxin and the others got in, glaring fiercely at Ma Men and others, but their attitude was quite arrogant. After all, their Skull team is notorious in the Alola region, and most people really don't want to have any connection with their Skull team. We come from Guandu and inform your leader Guzma that the Guandu Rockets are coming to visit. Lance said calmly to the few skeleton team soldiers in front of him, saying that talking to these small minions was beneath his dignity. And it would be the simplest way to directly make the Skull team uniform soft. Funny, I don't care if you're the Rockets or Mars team. Is our boss someone you can meet whenever you want? The tall and thin man snorted casually twice. Rockets. What kind of thing? He has never heard of it. Guxin grinned his lips, but Lance's face darkened. I'll tell you. Today is the day when the Heavenly King Laozi comes, and he too. Before the members of the tall and thin skeleton team could finish speaking, their expressions stiffened instantly, as a huge cobra in front of them was now swallowing the snake's cold gaze and staring at them. It's Lance's Abe monster. Bang! The Abe monster suddenly flicked its tail and fiercely struck the arm of a member of the tall and thin skull team. The tall and thin skeleton team let out a scream as they grew up, and their whole body was knocked upside down by the Abe monster, falling heavily to the ground. The fat man and woman on the side were all stunned. Are you okay? Quickly reacting, the fat man and the woman quickly ran to the side of the tall and thin skeleton team members, wanting to help him up. Don't touch me, it's broken. The members of the tall and thin skeleton team had pale and painful faces, and their foreheads were covered in cold sweat, urging the fat man not to move his left hand. Just now, Abe Monster's tail directly snapped his left hand. If it were in Guandu, you wouldn't be as simple as breaking your hand. Lance walked up to the 3 of them and coldly looked down at the members of the tall and thin skull team, saying in a cold voice. The gloomy and cold gaze made all 3 subordinates of the skeleton team feel cold in their hands and feet. This doesn't sound like it's fake. You. The chubby man looked at Lance in shock and fear. Although their skull team often caused damage while snatching treasure, they dared not make such a move that would break their hands and feet. Hurry up and inform Guzma that the Rockets are coming to talk to him about something. Upon hearing Lance's words, the chubby man quickly helped the other hand of the tall and thin skeleton team grow up and helped him up. The 3 of them ran towards the depths of the town. The embarrassed appearance of fleeing contrasts sharply with the initial arrogance. Well done. Guxin was very satisfied with Lance's performance and praised him. Since the other party is not very discerning, it is necessary to give a lesson, otherwise let the other party kick their nose and face. Lance bowed slightly and respectfully spoke. Let these flies stain your eyes, young master, it's Lance's dereliction of duty. Young master, if Guzma is not willing to submit to us. Domino squinted his eyes slightly and looked into the distance. This was the base of the skull team, and there were probably not many members of the skull team. Of course, this is not a problem, but they have not hidden their identities. If Guzma refuses to surrender, it will be more troublesome. If the situation gets too big, it may not be easy to clean up, Lance whispered. As one of the 4 generals of the Rockets, Lance is certainly not a soft-hearted person. But who knows how many members of the Skull team are in this Soul town. Don't worry, let's go meet Guzma first. Guxin tidied up his coat and waved his hand. Since he dares to come to Soul town openly, he is naturally not afraid of revealing his identity. Solving this problem is simply too simple. As for Guzma's unwillingness to surrender, then he can't help it. Requesting flower tickets, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. I would like to invite you to join the Rocket team, seeking support. You are listening at novel full.audio. The northernmost part of Poznan is a huge mansion. Like other buildings in Poznan, the mansion appears somewhat dilapidated, and the exterior walls are covered in graffiti. In the hall of the mansion, a young woman with thick smoky makeup sat on a wooden box, seemingly pondering something. Bol Meili, the only cadre of the Skull team, is also a respected elder sister respected by the Skull team members. Big sister. The cries with a crying tone brought Bol Meili back to her senses. When she looked up, Bol Meili was stunned. Big sister. My hands. The members of the tall and slender Skull team have a bit of a breakdown in their emotions. They were already in excruciating pain when their hands were broken, not to mention being dragged over by the fat guy along the way, which almost made them faint from the pain. Fortunately, another woman brought some healing medicine. Although the effect of the medicine on humans is not as significant as on elves, it also has therapeutic effects. What's going on? Bor's beautiful and cold face appeared very gloomy. She took great care of the growth of the Skull team, and she was very protective. Her subordinates were actually made to behave like this, and she was very angry at the moment. It's a few outsiders. The members of the tall and thin skeleton team were very aggrieved. They say they are the Rockets from the Guandu area. The female skeleton team member on the side answered, saying that she still remembered what Lance said. The Guandu Rockets. Bor Meili furrowed her brows tightly. Unlike these members of the skeleton team, she had even heard of the name of the Rockets. The strongest evil organization in the dark world of Guandu. It should be noted that the Guandu region is the headquarters of the Elf Alliance, which is different from the Arola region where even the alliance has not been established. The Rockets, which can develop under the watchful eye of the Guandu League, are also extremely famous in the dark world. But how did the Rockets come to the Alola area? I see. You go get treatment first, your hands. Bol's beautiful face was unpredictable, and if it were really the Rockets, it wouldn't be easy. But Bol Meili still comforted the members of the tall and thin Skull team, wanting him to go for treatment first, but didn't wait for Bol Meili to finish speaking. Boom! With a loud bang, the gate of the mansion was blasted open, and several Aurora Rata smashed heavily onto the floor with the shattered gate. Bor's beautiful expression changed. Big sister. Help me. Several members of the skeleton team ran into the mansion in panic. Obviously these few Alalorada were their elves just now. Bol Meili took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in her heart. TSK Lance, as a guest, your violent words are really impolite. A young voice with a smile slowly came along with the footsteps. A few figures slowly walked into the mansion, including Guxin and others. I'm very sorry, young master, but I feel that. Lance, standing behind Guxin, lowered his head and calmly replied. As he spoke, he lifted his head and scanned the members of the Skull team around him. These thugs are not worthy of your courtesy. Lance's calm words made all the members of the Skull team around look ugly, but no one dared to step forward. Because of the double bomb gas floating beside Lance. Just outside the mansion, it was this double bullet gas that swept through all their elves, incredibly strong. It seems that everyone left a bad impression on Lance. I'm really sorry for smashing your door. Guxin still had a smile on his lips, and his gaze fell on Bol Meili at the forefront. Although he said, sorry, in his mouth, anyone could tell that this young man had no hint of apology. How arrogant. How many of you are from the rockets? Bol Meili suppressed her anger and jumped down from the box, making a sound. Exactly, for the first time, I'm Guxin from the rockets. It's a great honor to be a guest at your organization's base. Guxian's very gentlemanly slight salute, whether in tone or demeanor, showed no flaw in elegance. This is of course, isn't it? At least he is also the young master of the rockets, and Guxian has always been very good at etiquette. If the rockets can come to our Skull team as a guest, we naturally welcome them very much. Bol Meili looked at Guxin. Obviously this young man was the leader among these people. But a few of you may have gone too far, right? Bol Meili glanced at the timid members of the tall and thin skeleton team behind her, as well as the shattered door, and her angry words were self-evident. Of course, our rockets team is willing to compensate for the recent injuries to the Skull team and this gate. After all, we didn't come here today to have a grudge against the Skull team, so could you please inform Mr. Guzma? I really want to talk to Mr. Guzma. Guxian's casual smile remained unchanged, and even his words sounded very friendly in literal terms. But this casual attitude still made Bol Meili very popular. The boss is not here today. If there is anything important, you can talk to me. I have the right to make a decision. Bol Meili was very vigilant, watching Mammon return. The Guandu rocket team, Bol Meili understands very well that this is definitely a very terrifying organization. No matter what the purpose is, the rockets who came across the sea specifically came knocking on their door. How could Bol Meili be careless? This is such a powerful evil organization that is still developing under the wanted of the Guandu alliance. Although the young leader has always been smiling, his haughty and condescending attitude has never changed since entering the door. Oh. Is that so? Guxian raised an eyebrow, but it wasn't too surprising. That's right. Bol Meili nodded. Since that's the best case, then I'll get straight to the point. We would like to invite your organization. Guxian glanced at all the members of the Skull team present, and the smile on his face slowly turned into a strong malice. Join our rocket team. Looking for flower tickets, the picture shows the second leader of the skeleton team, Bol Meili. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Is this young master really a good person? You are listening at novel full.audio. Join our rocket team. Upon hearing Guxian's words, Bol Meili's heart instantly pounded. And other members of the Skull team also widened their eyes. What are you saying? It seemed a bit unbelievable, but Bol Meili stared closely at Guxin to confirm. We want your Skull team to join our rocket team. Is there any problem? Guxian's mouth curled up, and he repeated his sentence clearly again, even asking a rhetorical question to Bol Meili. Bor's beautiful face was gloomy and unsightly. Impossible. Big sister, don't promise him. What are you joking about? Why do you want us to join your damn rocket team? Before Bol Meili could speak, several emotionally excited members of the Skull team had already loudly opposed it. These are some noisy guys. Guxian's narrow and long eyes swept over these people, and the smile on his face slowly became dangerous. Chow Meng. A precious ball opened and a humanoid Pokémon wearing armor appeared in front of Guxian. It was the Chow Meng, but at this moment, the Chow Meng had already put on armor that limited its superpowers, in order to help it adapt to its own power faster. Armored Chow Meng's eyes, shining with a faint blue light, swept past the beautiful people in front of him, and a strong and profound pressure filled the entire space. The members of Skull Island, who were originally angry, only felt their hands and feet cold. A terrifying sense of oppression made them open their mouths, but they couldn't say anything. The originally noisy sounds disappeared instantly, and the heavy pressure made the entire hall quiet as if chatting. Those members of the skeleton team were all staring at Armor Superdream in terror, this terrifying elf they had never seen before. The sense of oppression was really terrifying. Quiet. Even though it was Bor Meili, when she saw this Armor Superdream, her pupils shrank slightly, and the palpitations had never been so clear before. This elf is incredibly strong. That's right, I really dislike people whispering in my ear if they have any objections. Guxin gave a satisfied smile and spoke lightly. Although you can come ahead of me, I can't guarantee any consequences if you talk too much. The tone of the indifferent words was calm, but the content was not like that. Some of the more impulsive members of the Skull team were all blushing and glaring angrily at Guxin. This is really a blatant threat. But they really dare not step forward, that terrifying Armor Superdream just stood there. Mr. Guxin, as a strong person, targeting these ordinary people like this would inevitably lose your identity. Bor Meili spoke softly, otherwise would Guxin be allowed to insult her subordinates like this? Identity. Madam, don't get it wrong. Neither you nor we are good people, are we? Guxin chuckled and pretended to be surprised, then looked at Bor Meili with a smirk. Although as a champion-level trainer, it may be a loss of identity to compete with these skeleton team minions, Guxin cannot help but see some miscellaneous things jumping in front of him. However, we really can't go too far, just scare them. After all, we will still need these guys to make cannon fodder in the future. But madam, what you said is indeed reasonable. So let's continue to talk about the matter. Starting today, the skeletons will be merged into the rockets. Do you have any objections? Guxin tidied up his coat and tilted his head slightly to look at Bor Meili, his tone extremely natural. It seems natural to be like this. Mr. Guxin, although your rockets team is strong, our skull team is not easy to bully. This is Arola. Guxin's attitude made Bor Meili's chest slightly rise and fall with anger, but Bor Meili still suppressed her anger, knowing that the people in front of her were not easy to provoke. It's Arola, and then what? Guxin raised the corner of his mouth and asked Bor Meili in response. You. Alright lady, since I'm standing here, I've also investigated your skull team. Guxin interrupted Bor Meili who wanted to say something. Do you know about our rocket team? Nowadays, our rocket team has dominated the underground forces in both Guandu and Chengdu. Even though the Guandu League has been suppressing us, it still cannot stop our rocket team's growth. Do you know what this means? Guxin's black pupils reflect the silent and beautiful figure of Buer. I think you should also understand that our rocket team's power in the Guandu area has become saturated, so we have started to develop towards other regions. And the Arola region is our first target, which means if your skull team is unwilling to join our rocket team, that's to be against our rocket team. Guxin said lightly. Bor Meili's already calm face became even more unsightly upon hearing this. She never expected that their skeleton team would just be doing well on their own 1 acre and 3 fun land, and they would run over from other areas with such a devouring tiger. Strong dragons don't suppress local snakes. Impossible. Bor Meili is most aware of her own skull team, but although skull team is notorious in the Arola region, it is only infamous. They are just a group of idle thugs who don't have anything to do every day. They even have to make a question mark about whether they are considered a legitimate mafia, using their heads to fight against the rocket teams that have already started to move towards other regions. Is it because of her beautiful and flat chest? Our rockets team is also very democratic. If you don't want to join the rockets team, we won't force you either. Who makes this young master kind-hearted? Seeing Bor's beautiful expression gloomy and uncertain, Guxin grinned slowly and said. However, this place in Arola will belong to our rocket team in the future, and you can hand over all the Pokémon balls and go to the screw factory to screw them properly. Well, Guxin thinks he's really democratic. This young master is really a good person. Requesting flower tickets, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Is that all you have in Chapter 10? You are listening at novel full.audio. Kind-hearted. Let them disband the skeleton team, hand over the elves, and then enter the factory to tighten the screws. What is this called Shinshan? Mr. Guxin. Don't go too far. Boer's beautiful eyes looked coldly at Guxin. What are you joking about? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Oh. Is it excessive? I didn't arrest all of you to mine, it's already my mercy to you. Guxin sneered and knew it was impossible to agree. In that case, you can choose between mining and screwing, right? Who do you want to screw? At this moment, a deep voice came from upstairs. Boss. Boss, you're finally here. Damn it, boss, hurry up and get rid of these guys. They're too arrogant. The members of the Skull team were all pleasantly surprised, as if they had seen a savior. Damn it, it's really frustrating. People ride on their faces and output wildly, but they dare not even fart. And now the boss has finally arrived. This is a middle-aged man with fluffy white hair, goggles on top of his head, and a black jacket. His face is quite fierce. It is Guzma, the leader of the Skull team. It turns out to be Mr. Guzma, which is just right. Guxin glanced at him, his expression unchanged. It turns out that Guzma is also here, which is actually simpler. You just said, who should go to the factory to fix screws. Guzma slowly walked down the stairs with both hands in his pockets, glaring fiercely at Guxin and asking again. If you don't want to submit to our rocket team, then I can consider making you the team leader in the mine. Guzma was horizontal, but Guxin was obviously even more horizontal, and a sarcastic smile curved around his lips as he replied. Guzma is arrogant and domineering, but Guxin is not used to him. Good kid, it's not small to be angry when you're not big, you have guts. Guzma grinned and revealed his dense white teeth. Are you from the Rockets? This is not your capital. Where did you come from and where did you go back? Otherwise, I won't be soft on you. Guzma played away without hesitation. Although he had a rough personality, he also knew that the Rockets were not easy to deal with. But Guzma is not afraid of the Rockets either. After all, this is Alola, not Guandu. Guzma is very confident in his own strength. I really want to know how you can be so soft-hearted. Upon hearing this, Lance's eyes turned cold. What was this guy pretending to be in front of them? You can give it a try. Guzma provocatively looked at Lance, holding a Pokémon ball that kept spinning. Lance, step back. Young master. Lance looked at Guxin in confusion. I will come personally. Yes. Lance was taken aback at the words and then obediently lowered his head. I didn't expect the leader of the Skull team to be such a brainless idiot like you. What gave you the confidence to confront our rocket team? Guxin tilted his head to look at Guzma, and after a while, he couldn't help but laugh. Are you really used to being rude in the Alola region? I didn't expect anyone to come to me specifically to be beaten up and thrown away. The smile on Guzma's face gradually disappeared. After all, being ridiculed so recklessly by a younger generation would make everyone angry, not to mention Guzma's already irritable personality. Stinky kid, my grandfather's fist is not light. Don't go home and cry with your mother later. Guzma threw the Poké ball, and a standing elf with a hard shell resembling a footworm appeared in front of Guzma. It is Guzma's ace armor wielder. Is this your confidence? Guxin glanced at it and chuckled sarcastically. A Heavenly King-level armored warrior, this is Guzma's ace. To be honest, Guzma's strength is indeed decent. But in front of Guxin, armored warriors, hit head-on. Guzma ignored the mockery of this stinky boy. He had already made up his mind to deal with this arrogant younger generation well later. The armored warrior's head lit up with a faint green light, rushing towards the armored Superdream. The insect system needs a head-on blow. A powerful ultimate move. However, weak and powerless. Guxin commented lightly. Armored Qiaomeng looked faintly at the armored warrior rushing towards him, his eyes flickering with deep blue light that made him shudder. Armored Qiaomeng slowly raised his hand, and the armored warrior's movements came to a sudden halt. A layer of blue light appeared on his body, and his body floated uncontrollably. Armored warriors constantly struggle, but it is meaningless. With a wave of the armored super arm, it looks like an arrow departing from the string, and the armored warrior can fly backwards at high speed to exit. Guzma's pupils contracted suddenly. Boom! The armored warrior slammed heavily onto the stairs, which were directly shattered by the armored warrior's impact, burying him underground without any movement. Obviously, armored warriors have lost their combat ability. Quiet. The entire mansion was eerily quiet at this moment, and the members of the Skull team were all stunned as they watched the armor Superdream. Bormeli's eyes widened in shock. Although she guessed that armor Superdream must be very strong, she never expected it to be so outrageous. One hit. Just one blow. Guzma's ace armor wielder was actually solved directly by armor Qiaomeng, and it was so devastating. It's simply not a level opponent at all. That terrifying superpower made armored warriors have no counterattack power at all. Is that the only level? Mr. Guzma. Guxin casually looked at Guzma with a calm face, and his expression of mockery made Guzma breathe heavily. Damn it, damn it. How could it be? How could this stinky kid be so strong? Requesting flower tickets, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.